The 10 reasons why I just love the Stampin' Up! Markers. So we are going to come down here and okay, we're going to look at some markers here. And a few things. Well, let's see. As we talk, I have to figure this all out here. Number one, you can match. This is saying match your pattern paper, but you can also match your ink pads, your cardstock, everything. It looks professional. I think that is the number one secret to making better cards. You want things to match. And this just takes the guesswork out. So I just was going to show a couple of samples here. This is going to be my little messy thing here. So just look at this. And it's just so fun. And a lot of papers have several colors in them. And you'll pull those colors out and you can just work with them. Okay, so here's another. And I just love this part about it. Another fun thing is that you can do, those of you, I know some of you do calligraphy. I don't. I'm going to show you what I've always thought it'd be fun. I said, my handwriting is atrocious. So maybe if I worked at calligraphy, it would be a good thing. But it's really cool about these tips. Just want to show how I can go narrow. I can go wide. Do you see how you just have a lot of control over what you do with this? So I have fun just drawing with this kind of a thing, but I just wanted to point that out as one of the features about this because it is pretty cool. I would do my own thing with this, but it wouldn't look like calligraphy. But if you have nice handwriting, look at the cool things you can add to your card. Next, another thing, sometimes I think these are budget friendly. They're $35 for 12 colors, but there's so much you can do with them. And a lot of times, things can just feel kind of expensive. I mean, I love all kinds of tools, but whether you're brand new, this is a cost-effective way to get started. And I'm going to show you a whole bunch of techniques we can do with this. And I will say honestly that I'll forget to use my markers. And so then it's fun, that challenge to bring them out again. And I kind of fall in love with them all over again. So I think that's really fun. So if you're on a limited budget, I think this can really help. They're refillable. I'll show later how to refill that. And then I want to talk about techniques. I'm going to show a bunch of these so you just can see what we can do with this. So the first thing we're going to do is just color in an image. I have one finished here. So I was going to point out a couple of things because you really can shade with these two or add different colors. So I'm using the brights and I'm just going to add some, I'm going to put that right there. So I'm just using a bunch of different colors here. And I think it's really fun because you see, even this will kind of mix up my colors. Not as much as maybe some other things, but I can come back to it and do it. And I just wanted to add a little color in here. That might be a little more color than I wanted. I like this one better, but you see the idea. That's why I have one finished because, when you make a bunch of things, they don't turn out the same, but that's a good thing. But I also love how you can, lines on stamps like this are always so fun. Now, I could just be coloring this in just straight too, but I just figured that was so obvious. We'll just do a little of this first. So I'm going to do my darker color in there. So let's see what I have here. That's Poppy Parade. And then I'm going to take Flirty Flamingo. I'm not even being concerned about what goes together. So I just think, isn't this cool? We're going to get that shaded look right in there. And then on the others, I'm taking my darker. So this is Azure Afternoon. And I'm going to go down on these lines again. Of course, if there were no lines, I could just make my own. But these make it really easy when you're looking at stamps like this. And then I'll take my other color, which is Coastal Cabana, and go right over it. And I love that two-tone look. Okay, so how fun is that? So that is coloring like that. Another great technique, and this is what I use it for most of the time, is when I want to color a stamp directly on the stamp. So this is, I don't have the back on, but this is a rose. And you can see it's all in one stamp. So if I stamp it in an ink pad, it's all going to be one color. For some things, I want that. But for others, you wouldn't stamp this in black because, well, you could. It'd be minimal color. But I'm going to use the markers to color directly on this. So let's see. I'm going to pick 2 colors here. And I have Cherry Cobbler. Just keep moving things out of the way. That's how we manage life. You start with this table and then it gets smaller and smaller as you craft. Does anyone else have that happen? I'm going to go around and do the rows. I'm just being careful with the brush tip. I'm doing it on the side and I'm trying to be somewhat careful. Okay, so there's the Cherry Cobbler. And then I have Mossy Meadow. When I'm coloring in on that last one, I should have added, when I color in, I tend to use the brights as I did there and the subtles, because a lot of times like the regals, I love for doing this, but sometimes they can almost obscure the lines, so they're a little harder for coloring. So the color families you choose just based on what you think you'll do with it. So I have this all done, and now I'm going to huff on it to reactivate, just make sure there's plenty of moisture there. And look how pretty that is. Now I can leave this just the way it is, or I can take, here's another technique, a blender pen, and watch me turn this into a watercolor. This blender pen is pulling out the color right from the ink pad. And the red, every color works a little differently. The red really shows up way more than the green. So I'm just going to clean my thing like that before I go to the next color. But I thought, isn't that pretty? So I think this makes cards really quick and fast. Now we're going to try it one more time, but we're going to use Wink of Stella instead of the blender pen. So this is another thing. We like to just keep playing. I always say making cards is like being 5 again and getting your brand new thing of Crayola crayons, because you're just going to play. And I just think as adults, we need playtime in our lives. Got so much going on, and it's just good for our minds. I also think it's fun. Many of us like to create in community. So I love community. So we have several communities. If you get on my email list, you can just read all about all the things we do. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing. And this time, so that compares again what they look like first. And this time, I am going to color in with this. Now, on camera, it's a lot harder to see this in person. I'm going to, then in person. So we'll see how this transfers. But I'm just in person. You can see there's a lot of glitter right here. And I'm not sure that you will see this. But this is a flat watercolor. This has glitter. And I think they're both just beautiful. So really a fun way to use the markers. Now, I'm not even going into like watercolor and all the other things we can do with markers. I mean, it never ends. I'm just doing some really basic things today. So here they all are on a sheet of paper. I did this. So we have direct to stamp using the blender pen and then the Wink of Stella. So those are pretty cool. Now, another thing that can be fun to do. Let's move some of this over. Just have to find all my stuff here. This one, I'm going to take a yellow. This is what we're going to do. Do you see I'm just making a background? I am just scribbling. And I think this makes just another way to make cool cards. Now, markers give, if we're comparing, like Stampin' blends are a different thing. And then you don't see the, they blend together better than the markers do. But there can also be reasons to do this, because this can also be a very cool look where you do see the overlapping lines. So I just think everything has its own purpose. And so then for here, just going to stamp that on. And then for the words. Now in words like this is a rubber stamp, and you can see I have it angled, so I don't even have it on straight. So I'm just going to guess here. I'm going to, I don't know. I'm going to look at that. No, well, let's see. I have to see which way to go. Okay, I'm gonna make this. Okay, that's pretty good. So I did that and we're just gonna live with it. I usually do that. I can also line this up and line it, I could do all that, but this is quick and easy, just looking at techniques today. So that is another fun one. Then let's look at this. Let's see if I take this stamp and I want to put a couple of colors on here. I could do this as an ombre look going through different colors. I could use it as bright, shiny, different looks. And this stamp, so I'm going to use these two colors. We've got Poppy Parade. I could put as many stripes on here as I want. I'm only going to do 2. And I think this stamp of mine needs to be seasoned a little more, and I'll show you what I mean. But I chose to not take the time to do it today because I also thought this look ended up being okay too. It all depends on the look you're going for. If you need to season your stamp a little, you're just going to use like an eraser over the top to just kind of rub off a little, if there's a little extra coating on there. And you often don't notice that if you're stamping in an ink pad, but markers, will be different. But I also am okay with seeing all these lines and things from the markers. Like we said before, I'm choosing today to use that as part of the design, Now you see I went a little into the red. Do you see how that by going this way, I'm not ruining my marker because the red will come off right there. So we'll just see how this one turns out. And before I put it in, I'll just make sure I have any red off of that. And so I am going to press this. How cool is that? So you see, I could do a larger stamp. Like it could be a big happy birthday and we could do all kinds of colors. Or if you have got a stamp that has 2 words real close together, with markers, it's really easy to make one of the words one color and then the other another color. So I'm just calling this color blending. I don't even know what to call that. But then the other thing I can do with this that I think is so fun is doodling. Do you ever doodle around your edges? Now, I think this is really fun, and there are many ways to doodle. So I'm just picking one. You can the sky's the limit. But the other thing is, if you want to sign your cards and do anything that will be in the same color. But do you see I have the same color here? So I'm still accenting this. And I think that's where it can be fun to have the brush tip. So I made those corners different, but that's okay. There's no rhyme or reason to doodling, right? So we're just going to go through and do that. Okay. So fun. And then we'd layer that. These are all going in what I call my feeder box. So it's ideas. When I'm looking for something quick to finish, they're my unfinished products too. But I also, a lot of the smaller pieces will be things such as this. I can just add a word and then make it into a card. So there's just kind of starter ones for now. Let's see. Oh, here's another one. This is one of my favorite things to do with markers. This is called thumping. And I did one already, but we're going to do one a little differently, and then we'll just see how they turn out. So I'm going to take this, and I don't know if I cleaned it off. It's going to be clean enough for today. I'm going to use a lighter color. I am using crushed curry, but I could also, because I'm going for fall colors on this tree, could also use crumb cake, a light green, kind of, any other of those colors. Now I'm going to color off, because that light color, the reason for that is so that I keep the areas filled in and I don't have to worry about getting everything filled. I'm pulling that off for the tree, and notice I use that one way, and this is my espresso, and now I have all of the extra greens off, and I'm back to espresso. Then let's see what other colors I have here. Okay, then I'm going to take, and if I wanted to do green, I did green on the other, but yeah, I'll still do green. By the time the leaves change, often, there's just leaves on the ground too. So I was thinking I could have just left it the other way. But now this is what I'm going to do to add color, because right now this would all just be yellow. But do you see I'm just adding, this is Cajun Craze, and I can turn my stamp. I can just keep bouncing. I'm bouncing the tip on here. And however much I do this, and they're kind of getting to be slices. So by turning this, I'm getting them all different angles. Let's do that one. Oh, let's do some green. Oh, it's the same thing. I should just clean those at the end. Let me just see. I'll just do green all over. I didn't do green in the original samples. I thought, we'll add some green and see how that does it. But this is a fun one to do with kids too. They kind of get into doing all this. But it's just playing. And again, all of your colors, all of your finished cards are going to turn out differently depending on how much color you've added, where you've added it. You know, it's not something you can repeat. Did I do red? I don't think I did red. So now we'll do red. And this is cherry cobbler, I believe. I'm just going through, and you can see why I wanted to do the crushed curry below, because it'll be it'll be that yellow behind. Okay, so that will do that. And then again, I'm going to huff. And we're going to see what this does. I'm going to hold it a little just to put it down. Isn't that stunning? That looks like a beautiful fall tree. I love this one too. So here's my thumping. This one, I did not do the green, and I did pecan pie. So I did a lighter color there. I just love how these could all be different depending on the varied colors that you would try. So those are a bunch of ideas. Does that, you know, isn't that fun? So now let's look at how you would refill these. And I'm going to be perfectly honest and tell you I've never done this. So this will be a first time. But if I can find my, it's going to be very messy if I can't find my, what do you call it, tweezers. I have them out here. But I'm going to do it anyway, even if I don't have it. And I'll just tell you, you should use tweezers because I do not see where I put them. That is too hilarious. Okay, but I'm going to show you this one. I grabbed it off the shelf and I thought, yes. Do you see how this really needs re-inking? Now, I'm not going to, after I put the ink in, it's going to sit. I'm going to let it sit overnight and then try it. And I can always add more. But I thought this would be a perfect one for me to try with. So this is going to be the end, and watch what I'm going to do with my fingers. We'll see. Okay, you would want to use tweezers, but you see what I'm doing? I'm just pulling this off. I'm pulling it out. Oh, and look what I have to show for it. I better wash my hands right after this. Then I am going to just drop in a few drops, just a few at a time. I have no idea how much I'm going, because I would imagine if I filled it too much, it would spill over the top. I put in 5 right there. And I'm going to put in, let's see, 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What do you think? I'll do 3 more. Okay, so we're going for lucky number 13. And then I'll see how this works tomorrow. Okay, so we got that. You know, you can tell I don't love editing videos, or I would have just gone and found my tweezers, right? And now I'm going to put this in. And if it spurts out all over, you're going to know 13 is not the right number. So we're all doing this together. But ta-da, it looks good. And I'm going to put that on the top. And now, you know, you store these sideways so the ink goes both ways. I am going to store this for a few hours. Probably tonight I'll come check it, because it's not going to be an immediate thing. But I thought, so. And there you have it. Those are some really fun ideas why the markers are an amazing deal. They make crafting easy and fun for everyone. Doesn't matter if you're brand new, they're a perfect thing. And if you're an advanced crafter and you haven't used them for a while, this is your encouragement to pull them out and play with it again. So thanks for watching. And see, oh, it's Karen Titus, Stamping in the Back Porch.